Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join my channel and stay updated with more content like this. It was a quiet Saturday morning. I just poured my first coffee, watching the steam drift into the misty Oregon sky, when my phone vibrated. It was Trevor West, the realtor who years ago helped me secure the one place I could truly call my own. Hey, Delaney, he said, his tone careful. Quick question. Are you putting your cabin up for sale? My fingers tightened around the mug. No. Why would you ask? He explained there was a listing for a property up my mountain near Bend. Same photos, same lot size, live online right now, but with a contact number that wasn't mine. A chill ran through me. Whose number is it? I asked. He paused. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I looked it up. It's Mara Carver, your mother. For a moment, I said nothing. The silence was thick, broken only by the soft tick of the kitchen clock. I'll send you the link, Trevor said gently. Wanted to check with you first before doing anything. After we hung up, I opened his message. There it was, my cabin. My name absent, but every detail spot on. Photos I'd never taken. A description just convincing enough to pass as real. Serene alpine retreat, open for private tours. At the bottom, my mother's number, bold and unapologetic, as if she had every right. I didn't feel rage yet, just a hollow pressure building in my chest, like the foundation of something sacred was starting to fracture. I set the phone down, walked to the sink, and gripped the counter, staring out the window as my knuckles paled. My mother was trying to sell my home. I dialed her number. It rang twice before she answered. Hi, sweetheart, she said, her voice dripping with that rehearsed warmth she used when she knew she was caught. How's your weekend? I cut through the pretense. Why is my cabin listed for sale online? A beat of silence, then, still in that syrupy tone. Oh, you saw that. I pressed. You listed my property. She sighed, stretching the word like it needed cushioning. Your dad and I just thought it was for the best. You're so busy, Delaney. You barely use the place anymore. That's not your call to make, I said. Another pause. I heard her shift in her kitchen chair. It's for Sierra. She's pregnant, and she and Caleb need a bigger place. Their apartment's too small, and you know how pricey everything is. My jaw clenched. You didn't ask because you knew I'd say no, she admitted plainly. We're not trying to hurt you. It's for family. She needs support. You always step up. I shut my eyes. It's not yours to sell. Her tone sharpened. We're not doing anything wrong. We have your ID copies, tax records, old forms with your signature. We can handle the paperwork if that's your concern. I stared at the wall, half expecting it to crack open. You're saying you'll forge my name. It's just simpler this way, she said, like she was reasoning with a child. We know you'll get it once you've had time to think. You've always been the responsible one. She said it like a badge of honor. Before I could reply, I heard my dad's voice in the background. Is she upset? Mom muffled the phone. It's fine. I've got this. I hung up. I didn't call Trevor back right away. Instead, I sat with my laptop open, an empty email draft blinking at me. My hands hovered over the keyboard, but words wouldn't come. Not with the flood of memories crashing in. It wasn't just the cabin. It was how they always framed it. You're so responsible. The same phrase they used when I paid for Sierra's last 2 semesters after her scholarship fell through. The same one when her wedding costs ballooned, and I covered the gap because she deserved her dream day. The first time I helped with their mortgage was when Dad lost his job. I told myself it was temporary. They swore they'd repay me. That was nearly 3 years ago. $800 a month. Auto-deducted, silently siphoned. No one mentioned it, not even me. Because that's who I was trained to be. The quiet fixer, the one who gives without question. The daughter who provides, never asking why no one gives back. I used to think it was love, that giving more made me good, that being the steady one was a privilege. But sitting there, realizing they planned to forge my signature to sell the only thing I owned outright, it hit me. This wasn't love, it was control, cloaked in years of obligation and polite smiles. I opened my banking app and canceled the auto payment. Then I took a deep breath and called Trevor. He answered on the second ring. Delaney, he said, his voice calm but curious. You okay? No, I replied, but I need your help. I want to sell the cabin. A pause. You sure? Absolutely. As fast as possible. How quickly could we close if everything aligns? If the buyers got cash and financing ready, maybe 10 days. Why? You remember that sheriff you mentioned? Is he still interested? Yeah, Colton Ree, Trevor said. Been eyeing a place like yours for months. Lives and sisters, quiet guy. Solid income, pre-approved. Why? I'll cut $10,000 off the asking price and add a bonus to your commission if we can close before next Friday. Trevor let out a low whistle. You're not messing around. Dead serious. All right, I'll make the call. After we hung up, I opened my laptop again. I wasn't finished. I logged into the joint account I'd set up with my parents years ago when Dad had surgery and needed help with bills. It was still tied to my name, still giving them quiet access to my finances. I revoked it. Then I scoured every account, insurance, shared statements, tax documents they'd once managed for me. Every backdoor they'd used under the guise of helping, I sealed shut. By the time I was done, it was past midnight, but I wasn't tired. A cold, sharp focus had settled in, like a wire pulled tight. They'd schemed in secret, justifying it as family. They thought I'd cave, like always. Instead, I moved quicker. When Trevor called the next morning, his voice buzzed with energy. He's in, he said. Full price, minus your discount. Wants to close as soon as inspections clear. Do it, I said. Send me what you need. The next few days were a whirlwind of paperwork, signatures, and calls. I didn't tell anyone, not friends, not co-workers, not even my aunt, who might have understood. I wasn't seeking advice. I was taking back something quietly, legally, without permission. By Thursday afternoon, the deed was filed, the funds cleared, and the cabin was no longer mine. But it definitely wasn't theirs either. 2 weeks passed in silence, no calls, no voicemails, not even one of Mom's subtle guilt trip texts. For a moment, I thought maybe they'd moved on, found another way to fund Sierra's dream apartment, or even realized what they'd done and let it go. Then, on a Tuesday morning, my phone rang. It was Mom. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello. Her voice was shrill, panicked. Delaney, what's going on? We took a couple to see the cabin, and the locks, they've been changed. None of our keys work. I pressed the phone closer, already knowing my response. I know, I said. You changed them? Why? We have buyers ready. It's not my house anymore, I said. Silence. Then a brittle laugh. More nerves than amusement. Very funny. But seriously, the buyers are frustrated and your father's livid. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm not joking, I said calmly. I sold it last week. The new owners put in those locks. The silence stretched. I could imagine her face, mouth working soundlessly, grappling with the fact that I'd outmaneuvered her. Finally, she said, You what? You heard me. Her voice broke. Without telling US? Delaney, how could you be so spiteful? It wasn't spite, I said. It was mine, and I'm done acting like I owe it to you. She started to speak, but I didn't wait. I ended the call and set the phone down. My hand shook briefly, adrenaline catching up, but then a strange calm settled over me. For the first time in years, I'd said no and meant it. They couldn't guilt me into undoing it. The deed was final, the money already easing my own debts. I'd acted without their approval, and I wasn't apologizing. I let Sierra's calls go to voicemail the first 2 times, but by the 4th, curiosity got the better of me. Delaney, what the hell is going on? She snapped, no preamble. Mom called me crying about locks and buyers leaving. What did you do? I sold the house, I said evenly. A beat. You're not serious. Completely serious. It's not mine anymore. Her voice climbed. You didn't tell anyone. We've been planning this for months. I picked out an apartment, hired a designer for the nursery, told people we were moving. You shouldn't have planned your future with something that wasn't yours, I said. Her breath hitched. You don't get it. I'm pregnant. I know, Sierra. And that's not my responsibility. A pause, then her voice softened, slipping into that familiar coaxing tone. We just needed a little help, Del. You've always been the one who keeps it together. Mom said you'd come around. I exhaled quietly. Figure it out like everyone else does. Her tone sharpened. You're being cruel. No, I said, I'm being clear. Silence, heavy and long. She muttered something and hung up. I stood there, phone in hand, not angry, just weary of being everyone's fix. They banked on my compliance, assumed I'd fold like always. But they never considered what happened if I didn't. The silence after her call wasn't guilt. It was a door closing, not slammed, just shut. 2 days later, Trevor called again, not about paperwork. Delaney, you won't believe this, he said cautiously. The sheriff, your buyer, called. There was a break-in at the cabin over the weekend. My stomach nodded. Is he okay? He wasn't there, but the alarm tripped. Cameras caught it all. Guy tried prying the back door with a crowbar, then checked the windows. I already knew. It was your father, Trevor confirmed. I closed my eyes. He's been arrested. The sheriff recognized him from the paperwork and called the local PD to keep it clean. Of course, I murmured. Thanks for letting me know. I'm sorry, Trevor added. I wish I was shocked. We hung up, and I sat in silence until my phone rang again. Mom, crying before I could speak. Delaney, you have to fix this. Your father was just trying to get into your property. He didn't know it was really sold. Call the sheriff. Say it's a misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding, I said. He thought you were bluffing, she pleaded. We didn't think you'd actually do it. You had the ad up, we're setting up showings, planning to forge my signature. And you're surprised I didn't let you. Don't be cruel, she whispered. He's your father. No, he's a man who broke into someone else's home, knowing it wasn't his. He made that choice. You're heartless, she said softly. No, I replied, I'm done. I hung up and turned off my phone. There was nothing left to say. They knew what they were doing. They just never thought I'd say no for good. The news spread fast, small town, tight circles. The sheriff didn't press trespassing charges, but Dad didn't escape unscathed. The incident became an official report. Within a week, his mall security job let him go quietly, a termination letter and a meager severance. Mom stopped calling for a few weeks. Silence returned. Then Aunt Cora reached out. No lecture, just facts. They've burned through most of their savings, legal fees, repaying people. Sierra and Caleb moved in with them. I nearly laughed. The dream apartment vanished, and now the golden child was back in her childhood bedroom, pregnant, married, caught between two people falling apart. They're struggling, Cora said softly. Mom's picking up extra shifts at the grocery store. Sierra's complaining constantly. Your dad's not handling the idle time well. I thanked her but didn't ask for more updates. They'd always framed family as obligation, as if helping them proved love. But now that I wasn't holding it together, their world was unraveling. And I didn't feel guilty, I felt clear. For years, I thought my role was vital, that without me, they'd collapse. I was right, but instead of feeling needed, I felt free. That night, I made dinner alone, music playing softly, phone off. I didn't feel like saving anyone. The next morning, I woke without dread and booked my first therapy appointment. The first session was tough. I sat on the couch, staring at a framed tree photo above the bookshelf, searching for words. Dr. Leon didn't push. I spilled it all, haltingly at first, then in a rush. The cabin, the forged sale, the wedding money, the monthly payments, the silence I kept because speaking up felt like betrayal. She listened without flinching. When I stopped, she said, Delaney, you weren't their daughter. You were their safety net. I didn't cry, though I expected to. Instead, something clicked, like a key finally fitting the right lock. We talked about boundaries, patterns, the slow conditioning that taught me love and debt were one. She called it financial abuse, and the term fit. I went home and sat in my living room. No TV, no music, just the hum of the fridge and distant traffic. I looked around, not grand, not fancy, but mine. The stillness settled in. That night, I slept through no texts, no bank alerts, no weight of someone's disappointment. For the first time in years, I wasn't the fallback plan, carrying no one's burden but my own. 7 months later, I strolled through a quiet neighborhood just outside the city, hands in my pockets, eyeing a small yard in front of a modest house. It was just a patch of dirt now, but I could see lavender, basil, maybe tomatoes if I felt bold. The realtor opened the door, letting me step inside first. The floors creaked, the kitchen smelled of lemon polish, no fancy countertops or soaring ceilings, just a blank canvas free of anyone else's expectations. I didn't need to call anyone for their opinion. 2 weeks later, I signed the papers. The house was mine. I bought a used Toyota after that, reliable, not flashy. The old car had given out, and for once, replacing it didn't mean skipping bills. I paid cash, no loan, no cosigner, no family involved. Now I save money each month, not for others' crises, but for things I want: a coastal weekend, an herb gardening class, maybe a new mattress. My bank account isn't a revolving door for their needs anymore. It's mine. The silence in my life used to feel heavy. Now it's like breathing. No emergency calls, no guilt-laced texts, no obligations woven into every holiday. I wake up, work, cook in my quiet kitchen, go to therapy, make small plans mine. No one dictates who I should be. And I've learned freedom isn't loud. It's the gentle, steady rhythm of a life that's finally my own.